A very good afternoon to you, Unati, and to our viewers at home. The mine workers are really not happy about what is happening here at GoldOne mine. This is where then we saw today, and just from last night, the mine moving forward with the closing of operations here. This because of they were getting information and news that the workers were planning to stage a repeat of what happened here about 2 weeks ago, where we saw them staging a sit-in underground. At the crux of what is happening here today is still the issue of the workers wanting to self-determine and to belong to a union of their choice. They are saying that they've been with the NUM for the longest of time since the mine started its operations here, but the NUM has not come through for them, even saying that when it comes to issues of labor relations and issues of ensuring that there are wages that are discussed here, the NUM has not been forthcoming to help them in this regard. We saw them 2 weeks ago staging a demonstration. They are continuing with that particular demonstration, always taking issue, Unati, with the mine, saying that the mine has not been forthcoming with giving them information around the suspension, for instance, of some of these workers that were suspended from the demonstration here about 2 weeks ago, and also taking issue with what we're hearing being a closed shop clause that exists between the NUM and the mine here, that then would kick out other unions from organizing at this particular mine. But I'm going to give the mine a right of reply this afternoon so we can get a sense of really how this particular demonstration here and the closing of the shops here is affecting your operations. Ziad is joining us as the head of legal here at GoldOne mine, really coming through to explain to us about why we find ourselves here and why, as the mine, you saw it fit from last night to close your operations and not allow the workers to come in. Welcome to the SABC, Ziad.
Thank you. So yesterday, as you said earlier, yesterday we received information that a repeat of 2 weeks ago was planned by several employees. They were allegedly going to plan another sit-in, which could potentially lead to another hostage situation. We were luckily able to thwart that in time. Around 50 employees had gone underground, and we brought them back safely up to surface. We then cancelled the night shift. The morning shift went ahead as planned, but a few hours into the shift, we took a decision to bring everybody back up to surface, and we've now suspended operations until Monday at the earliest. The aim is to stabilize and to normalize the situation at the mine before we can call people back to work in a safe manner.
Why Ziad and the members here are getting what they are calling for, which is to be recognized as now members of AMCU and not the NUM? What is the stumbling block? Why aren't they actually the balloting process happening the way that they had expected it to happen as early as yesterday?
So it's a little bit more complicated than that. There is, as you said, a closed shop agreement with the NUM. That's been in place since 2012. And we've had fairly stable labor relations up until about 5 months ago. And that's when AMCU came knocking on our door and saying that they believe that they now have a substantial representation of the approximately 1,800 employees on that category. We've then gone through a fairly rigorous legal process, and seemingly dissatisfied with the pace of that process, AMCU then took matters into their own hands. They staged an illegal sit-in, which then led to a hostage situation. That hasn't helped the situation. What that's done is we've now had to lay criminal charges. We've had to institute disciplinary actions against 42 employees who were primarily responsible for the events of that day. That process needs to unfold. We've also received a petition from AMCU shortly after those events, with a number of employees allegedly signaling their intent to end the closed shop agreement. We've passed that on to the NUM. As our current partner in the closed shop agreement, the responsibility lies on them to provide us with a plan and timing for when they would be prepared to hold a ballot. We are in constant communication with them. At this stage, we've not agreed on a time for the ballot, but we are trying to resolve this as soon as possible. And AMCU are being kept abreast of these developments. We are also passing on that information to them. It is then their responsibility to pass it on to their members, but we'd like this process to be run as peacefully as possible. We cannot hold a ballot under the current climate where there is intimidation and threats of violence between rival unions. So for us, it's very important that before any ballot can be planned, the situation returns as far as possible to normal.
Please explain this closed shop clause and this agreement to some of our viewers here that may not understand why then as a mine you saw it fit to introduce that clause only to recognize the NUM as a union at this mine. What led to that, and what pertains to this closed shop clause?
So closed shop agreements are fairly commonplace within the mining industry. At the time of getting into the closed shop agreement in 2012, there was really one union, and that's the NUM, who represented pretty much all the employees within the bargaining unit. And like I said, there was no threat to that up until a few months ago. Now, a closed shop agreement remains in place until it's legally dissolved. And in order to legally dissolve it, there needs to be a threat. What we've seen now is a clear threat to the majority of the NUM. And so through that petition and through the communication with AMCU, that threat is now credible, and so the information is being passed on to the NUM, and the ballot will then confirm whether the majority of the employees at the mine elect to continue with the closed shop agreement, whether to add another partner into that agreement, or whether to dissolve the agreement altogether.
And Ziad, this can be good for the company, the mine, in terms of your operations. You've had to cancel shift from last night into this morning today. No operations tomorrow. There won't be operations Sunday. No operations, and you're hoping to open on Monday. This, of course, leading to losses for the company. Just let us in on the losses. And have you also spoken to investors and your customers so that they can expect these disruptions to services emanating from this standoff with the workers?
No, absolutely. I mean, the cost, the daily costs run in the millions. So we certainly are counting those costs. It's very, very disruptive to our operations. We are keeping our shareholders on the loop as far as everything that's going on. It really is our objective to stabilize and to normalize the situation here as quickly as we can.
Also hearing that you are engaged in marathon meetings with the NUM this afternoon as well to try and find each other so you can bring forward this balloting process. Is it promising? Indeed, when can we expect the balloting process to take shape?
It's difficult for me to commit to a timeline right now. I think we are coming closer to each other. I think AMCU's demands to have a ballot by tomorrow were completely unreasonable. We communicated that position to them, that we do need to have a stabilization of operations here before we can do a ballot. NUM suggested initially a lengthier time frame, but I think we're coming closer together, and what we need to agree on is a time frame where everybody can guarantee that the ballot will be held in a safe environment, and that the outcome of the ballot, importantly, will be accepted by both unions.
And the workers feeling like you are keeping them out of the loop in terms of your engagements in this regard. Hence, some of them even came here hoping that they're going to be, reporting for duty, but that was not the case. Are you communicating to the workers, and what's going to happen to those that have been suspended, the 42?
So communication with the workers is being done on a daily basis. We reach out to all our employees via SMS to inform them of what's going on. Discussions are being held with both unions, and it's then their responsibility to also communicate those messages to their members. And those discussions are happening pretty much on a daily basis. As far as the suspended employees are concerned, they will remain suspended until their disciplinary hearings are concluded. It's important to know that nobody has been suspended for belonging to a particular union. The suspensions were as a result of activities that happened underground, where employees were held against their will. There was also criminal activity that was committed, and it was also actions that were in breach of instructions by the employer, as well as a breach of two interdicts from the labor court. So those charges are fairly serious, and we need to respect the disciplinary process so that all of those hearings can be finalized.
Has it started the process?
We have started the process. Obviously, what happened yesterday and today has now disrupted that again. For a number of reasons, we need to get the operations running back to normal, and these constant disruptions are not helping that. It's certainly counterproductive from the AMCU position to have these daily disruptions, because it doesn't allow us to plan a ballot or to plan any of our other operations under normal working conditions.
Ziad Hassam, thank you very much, sir, for your time joining us there as the head of legal from GoldOne Mine, just shedding clarity in terms of what is happening currently at the mine, but then the operations remain suspended until Monday, and this is where we'll see them assess the situation to see if indeed it's conducive for them to open up their doors for operations to resume here, but really also hearing that they are continuing with those marathon meetings to ensure that balloting process becomes a reality and the workers move from the NUM into AMCU, and they are recognized as members of AMCU going forward. I'm going to ask my colleague Leopo to show you what is happening. These are security officials, that is private security that has been hired by the mine to really be on standby for any eventuality that can happen here. Earlier on, we also saw the police driving in and out of this particular facility here as we see them really tightening security to ensure that they safeguard this facility here. And also what they're saying, Unati, is that they don't want a repeat of Marikana, where you know that AMCU members went on a demonstration and we saw people losing their lives. So the mine saying that it's erring on the side of caution, but it continues with those negotiations and more or less conversations, discussions with the NUM and AMCU to find an amicable solution to what is happening here on the ground. Unati?